What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about if lifting weights will make you slow. Now, before we answer this question, fellas, if you are an athlete, a football athlete specifically, and would like to get faster and want some on-field drills that you guys can do to improve your 40-yard dash, your pro shuttle, your running form, everything about speed, check out that very first link in the description below where we can give you 100 plus speed and agility drills, all mapped out with video examples of each drill and the exact sets and reps to follow. So if you guys would like to get faster, improve your overall speed and explosiveness, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. Now, lifting weights improperly can 100% make you slower. Now, what are some improper lifts that a lot of people will do? And we're going to get into that throughout the course of this video, compare and contrast the proper lifts. But if you are lifting improperly, 100% of the time, you will get slower. Now, what are some improper lifting methods for athletes to do? So if you're a football player, the goal is obviously to be as explosive as possible on every single snap, whether you are a quarterback. And again, quarterbacks, when you guys throw the ball and you have to throw a bullet pass, you're trying to be explosive. Receivers running a route, you're trying to be explosive. Linemen, linebackers, running backs, you are explosive athletes. So that is how we have to train in the gym. There are certain things, like there are certain exceptions to the rule. If you were trying to get bigger, absolutely you have to lift a certain way to get bigger and to put on size. But let's say you're already big, or let's say you're trying to get bigger, but you don't want to neglect the speed and explosive type movements that you have to do in the gym. This advice is 100% for you. Number one, lift for explosion. It's crazy to me how many people are in the gym that are football players and they're lifting to be football players and they're doing like 15 to 20 reps of a specific exercise. Guys, that is working a slow twitch muscle fiber. If I'm training an athlete, we are doing probably staying in like a 3 to 6 rep range at the absolute max because we're trying to exert force as explosively as possible on every single rep. So let's use let's say you're working your chest, right? Let's say you're working your chest because everybody loves to talk about this. If you're doing bench press, why am I doing 15 reps of an exercise? That makes absolutely no sense for a football player. You're never going to have to exert force for that amount of time. What I suggest doing, maybe not even do bench press. Let's put some resistance bands on my back and let's do 3 to 6 reps of an explosive like plyo push-up because that's going to translate more to the actual game itself. So lifting will make you slow, like I said, if you are lifting improperly. If you were doing certain exercises for high reps, that is not going to make you faster. Now, what are some of the best exercises that you can do in the gym to make you faster specifically? And that's what we're going to get into. Now, exercises that I like for football players in the gym to make them explosive are a lot of lower body explosive exercises and a lot of Olympic lifts. Now, I was in high school. I was in your guys' shoes. And I never understood why we did certain movements. And I never understood why we did certain movements for a certain amount of reps, especially when we got to college. That's when I started getting a little bit more knowledge of the topic because we were a little bit more educated on the topic. We actually had a dedicated strength coach who would explain this stuff to us. But in high school, we still had a great lifting program and we would do a lot of these exercises. I just didn't necessarily know the reason why, which is the part of the reason why I'm explaining this to you. You cannot neglect these types of lifts. I know how it goes, guys. Like I was in that locker room, high school locker room, not that long ago. I'm not that old. And guys will skip lifts because it's hard. They don't want to put in the work. They're tired. And those lifts are actually lifts that are going to apply on the actual field and make you a better football player. Not going to make you bigger. They're not going to make you look better with your shirt off, but it's going to make you a better football player, which is ultimately our goal. So like I said, Olympic lifts, power cleans, hang cleans, one-arm dumbbell snatch, maybe barbell snatch if you're getting a little creative, right? I'm not saying that that's a necessity. It's a lot of pressure on your shoulders, especially for quarterbacks, if you do something incorrectly. Overhead, like push press, like explosive push press, working in that 3 to 6 rep range. Guys, you should not be doing those for reps. 12, 15 reps, what's the point? There's literally no point to be doing those types of movements for that amount of reps. Now, let's talk about this. Squats. Squats are important if you're doing like maybe a pause squat, you're trying to explode up. So you go down to depth like 50%, then explode up as hard as you can with good form. Doing that 3 to 6 reps. Plyometrics, any type of jump training, but you have to understand that you are trying to exert all-out effort in the gym because on the field, you're trying to exert all-out effort. Now, by all-out effort, I'm talking about a specific type of muscle fiber, and that is a fast twitch muscle fiber. You're trying to exert fast twitch fibers. So let's talk about cardio for a second. Football players, you guys should be running sprints, not laps around the track. You're running miles at a time. How is that applying to a football game? How is that getting you in football shape? It's not. Because when you're going to have to run a sprint, you're going to be dead gassed. It's going to happen. So it doesn't apply. That's why you don't see a lot of soccer players that play football at a high level. I'm talking like high school ball. You don't see a lot of soccer players that play football. You don't see a lot of, This one's a little more common, but like basketball, like that's more of an explosive one. There's a little twitch that goes into basketball. It's kind of like one of those hybrid sports, but you don't see that a whole lot. You don't see it very, very commonly, right? A lot of football players, though, fellas, we should be running sprints. We should be doing explosive movements. That's how you get an actual football shape. And those types of lifts will not make you slower. Now, I'd be doing you guys a disservice if I didn't talk about the gaining weight element of playing high school sports, youth ball, but also still trying to maintain your speed. Because, like, there's a lot of information out there about, gaining, like, training to gain muscle mass. And that requires a lot of high reps. Like, I know when I was trying to put on weight, I was doing different supersets of, different, like, almost like bodybuilding exercises to try to put size on, try to put muscle on. And I was doing a lot of, like 10 to 12 reps, trying to really burn out my muscles, shock my muscles to put on muscle, break down those fibers. I was taking creatine, I was taking protein powder, I was doing all the stuff that I'm sure a lot of you guys are trying right now. But I was never concerned about losing speed because I knew I always worked on my speed. Now, was I necessarily understanding of the stuff in the gym that was also added on to help with my speed? No, I wasn't. But on the field, I knew I was doing a lot of plyos. I knew I was running with the sled all the time. I was running hills. I was constantly working on my running form, my explosiveness. So I never felt like I lost anything speed-wise. So if you're in that boat, you got to be able to do both. You have to be able to manage both. So in your workouts, you should have mixtures of both. I remember in college, like for guys that needed to gain weight, I was one of those guys. We would do, like, let's say it was a leg day. We'd obviously do squats, and we would be doing like kind of higher reps. We would superset it with maybe some other type of leg exercise, like a split squat or, like a single leg pistol squat, whatever it is. But we'd also have a power clean added into it. We'd also have a box jump added into it. So we got both elements. And that's what I recommend to you. You can't neglect the on-field stuff either. You got to make sure that you're constantly running with resistance. You're constantly working on your running form. If you can run track and your high school has a good track program, I highly recommend that as well. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like to get faster and want 100+ on-field speed and agility drills that you guys can do, all mapped out with the exact sets and reps to follow and video examples of each drill, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.